You're watching TVC Breakfast. Reactions are still pouring in over the victory of President Bola Tinubu. Recall that hours ago, the Presidential Election Petitions Court delivered its judgment on the petitions brought before it by the Labour Party, People's Democratic Party, and the Allied People's Movements, challenging the victory of the ruling All Progressives Congress at the last presidential election. There is more in this report.
Exactly 100 days in office of President Bola Tinubu, the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in the nation's capital in Abuja has affirmed the election of President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress. Some landmark decisions have been made in this judgment. The Presidential Election Court dismisses APM, Labour Party, and PDP's petition for lack of merit. The court decided that the issue of nomination of Kashim Shettima is a pre-election matter and ought to have been ventilated at the Federal High Court. The issue of non-qualification and disqualification of a candidate is a pre-election matter. Election, when concluded and result declared, cannot be questioned under the provision of Section 131 of the Constitution on issue of non-qualification or disqualification. The petitioner ought to have filed a case before the Federal High Court within 14 days from the day the cause of action arose. Section 285, subsection 14c, doesn't allow members of any political party to challenge the nomination of a candidate of another political party. The petitioner lacks the local standing to institute the petition. On President Tinubu's U.S. charges, Labour Party and its presidential candidate Peter Obi failed to prove that President Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress was convicted for money laundering in the United States. However, the tribunal ruled that no criminal charges was filed against Tinubu in the U.S. and that the APC candidate did not go through a criminal charge in America. On the 25% vote in Abuja, the tribunal also dismissed Obi and LP's petition on 25% vote of Tinubu in the Federal Capital Territory, saying Abuja is like any other state. The tribunal says FCT has no special status, describes interpretation of Section 134, subsection 2b, as fallacious. On INEC is at liberty to prescribe the manner which election results should be collated. INEC is not mandated to electronically transmit or transfer election results. The glitches experienced during the upload of the result to IRF portal was not a plot to temper or manipulate the result as alleged by the petitioner. The petitioner failed to prove that it was a case of manipulation by INEC. The glitches are not on ground to challenge the outcome of an election in view of Section 134, subsection 1b of the Electoral Act. On overvoting, Labour Party was unable to prove claims of overvoting in the presidential election. The petitioner failed to establish any allegation of overvoting or voter suppression, the court ruled. PDP fails to give names of polling units affected by overvoting in Kogi State. The tribunal rules allegations of result manipulation in Lagos are vague.
All your mandate, Bola, all your mandate, Bola, all your mandate, we shall stand.
Now, moments after the Presidential Petition Tribunal Petitions Court dismissed APM, Labour Party, PDP petitions, President Bola Tinubu assured Nigerians of his renewed and energized focus on delivering his vision of a unified, peaceful and prosperous nation. Special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilali, said President Tinubu welcomes the judgment of the tribunal while recognizing the diligence and undaunted thoroughness and professionalism and five-member bench led by Justice Haruna Samani in interpreting the law.
It's been a very, very strong and emotional journey for all of us, struggling for democracy, truth, and justice for all. Today, we give kudos to the judiciary for their indefeasible commitment to rule of law and to humanity. Thank God Almighty for guiding us this far and protecting us. with your support, joys, and adulation, the theme for Nigeria is for us to pull Nigeria up and be proud of a country. That's the only country that we have. 1 out of 4 black race is in Nigeria. Well-educated, dynamic, collaborative, and forward-looking people. Hard-working, no doubt. We have no reasons to be poor. Don't look back. Look forward. Let's pull the country forward. And with your help, my friend, my colleagues, and all of you, I promise to do more.
But members of the Labour Party are not pleased with this victory and says it rejects the court judgment. In a statement by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, it said justice was not served in the petitions of the party against the APC and President Tinubu. He also said the Labour Party will make its next move known upon consultation with its lawyers after receiving the certified true copy of the judgments. Now let's talk this through by speaking with 2 public affairs analysts, Ayodele Adewale and Muyiwa Ogunlaja. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear.
Good to see you. I can still see the fatigue, written all over your faces as regards the very long, winding judgments that we all witnessed yesterday. But let me start with you, Muyiwa Ogunlaja.
Yeah, my dear.
How did you appraise the whole judgment yesterday? What was your own impression regarding that?
Well, I saw that 11 hours judgment.
It's more than 11 hours.
11 hours plus, okay. As a well-researched, well-dissected, extremely well-written, and brilliant submission, although with some hiccups. We should look at that later. But in the main, it put to an end all the insinuations we will be having in the social media, because we all listen. It was live, so I don't need to go to social media and see captions that will give me a completely different impression about what the judgment was. So for the first time, most Nigerians listen, and by now, all these buggers, social media men, have no job to do again. Because before you come out to tell me this is it, I've already listened to that. And it doused the tension in the land. It doused the tension in the land. I must tell you that. Even the opponents will agree that it doused the tension in the land. And as the Labour Party did say, that they are rejected, they have the right. That is their constitutional right, and they can explore. My only problem is that for them to say they are rejected because it did not meet the aspirations of Nigerians. Judgments are not meant to meet aspirations of people. Judgment is based on what are the facts before the judges, what is the position of the law, and what should be the decision of the judges based on the position of the law, not based on the sentiments of the people outside. That's right. And that mistake the Labour Party made. So I want to say that after all said and done, Nigeria is ours. It's the only country that we have. There is a right for us to go further to the Supreme Court, and I want to appreciate all political parties for picking this, that they will go further to the Supreme Court and not encouraging the breakdown flow and other.
Ayodele Adewale, let me come to you. Virtually everyone was expectant, before yesterday. Like, it's going to go my way, it's going to go the other way around. What did you see in all of it? Did it go your way? Did it meet your expectations based on, your own foresight?
Well, First, I must congratulate the President for this victory, the Vice President, the APC, and all Nigerians. It went the way of factual realities. Realities that have been put before the judiciary. And of course, it has created a very robust judicial education, not for only people of legal sound minds, but for all Nigerians. This will be the first in history where people will listen for so long and follow every word that was pronounced by those judges from their account of what had been presented to them. And it also laid to rest a lot of skepticism that was thrown everywhere. And there are some electoral matters that was frightening a lot of people. But from that pronouncement, that is very factual and is in line with our laws, I think it is very good for us. We can move smoothly as a people in this country. And for historians and political scientists, and of course, legal people, it becomes a reference point for them to get more enlightened and, of course, to put things well. And it also throws caution to so many people that think they can just bamboozle the judicial system, waste their time, and all of that, and create crisis within the country. So it gives caution to them, and everybody be put on a good stead.
Right. So let's get down to the brass tack of the entirety of the judgment. Not everything, because this is an ongoing conversation and a lot of things to to really unravel. Looking at what the PEPC ruled yesterday, one of the things they said as regards the Labour Party's petition, because that seemed like a lot of people focus attention on that. They said it's unimaginable that a petitioner will allege widespread rigging in 176,000 polling units, over 8,000 wards, 774 local government areas, 36 states, and the FCT, without stating the specific place where the alleged irregularities occur. So, what do you make of this, this statement by the judge?
It shows that our lawyers are very lazy. A lot has to be done to the bar. Seriously speaking, most of the preparations made by these lawyers were inadequate, were insufficient. There are some cases, there are some insinuations, there are some presentations that should not have been taken to the court if the lawyers are actually on top of their games. A lawyer must know that when you make such insinuation and you are the one accusing, it behoves on you to come out with extremely convincing argument. A part of the convention is physical people who will come and say, I was there. This is what happened. I was the presiding officer. So what? This is what happened. Other people came. Only 90 were allowed to vote. 1 million were voted. I was there. You cite examples and bring concrete evidences. You don't make your evidences generic. You don't just generalize. It's not a literature class where you just talk about everything. You must be very, very specific. That's number one. Mind you, most cases are won in offices when you are preparing, not in the law court. Unfortunately, the lawyers did not prepare very well. There are some references that shouldn't have been made. They should have known that. That's not. For instance, if there are some cases that are called pre-election matters, these are matters that have to have been sorted out before the election. They don't concern the election. You did not do that, or you are bringing it out. It's like telling me that your pregnant wife gives birth to a baby boy, when before that time you should have done the scan to know that you have a baby boy or a baby girl, and you are quarreling with the woman. So the point is, the bar must sit up. That's number one. The second point is that we all learned yesterday, as my distinguished honorable had said, we all learned yesterday, especially those of us who have the discerning minds to know what's happening. I now know for sure now that you cannot just allege without proving. So even in meetings, you can't just allege that somebody said, I should be able to say this one who said it, this way it was said, and I was there, and this is. You must have concrete evidences to show that something has been pronounced. And I clearly want to believe that sentiments should now ask no place. It's annoying for you to say that it's against people's reaction, people's expectation. What are they expecting? Especially when you have cajoled the judges, you have blackmailed, you have intimidated, there are billboards here and there, all eyes are on you, all this and that. Some are even quarreling that the judges were speaking extempo, that did not see their faces. The law court is not a theater or national arts theater where you go and see the faces of actors, how they are displaying. How do you do the law court just the pronouncement? You don't need to see the face.
All right, we'll definitely look at, how, what, that procedure that went on with it. But then the fact that one of the witnesses of the Labour Party presented as an independent professional PW1, according to one of the judges, under examination confessed that he is not independent, that he is a personal assistant to Peter Obi, and he was contracted by, the Labour Party presidential candidate. What do you make of this? Because, out of about 22 witnesses, or they said they will call 50 witnesses, they will call, large number of witnesses. At the end of the day, about 10 were not taken, and maybe just 2. It's the same thing for the PDP and the Labour Party. What do you make of, this assertion by the judges?
Well, you must understand that there are rules. And under the framework of, those rules, if you don't key into it, no matter what you bring, will be thrown out. If they have given you 10 days to put forward your petition and told you the format in which those petitions must be written and must be submitted, if you go out of line, then definitely they will throw it out. So that is what just happened. Everything has rules. And as lawyers, they must also know the norms that guides their profession. It's not about the way you feel. It's about the way things should be done, and it should be done properly. And I give thumbs up to the judges. It means that our judges are extremely very brilliant, and they follow the provision of the extant laws and the administrative guidelines that guides their profession. So you can't move out of line.
So Abuja became so popular in this election, became very, very popular. So much so that we talked about Abuja as having special status. But then we're made to understand that this thing has been decided, long ago. Section 299 of the Constitution, they said that Abuja should be seen or administered as just the same way you administer states. So what is this thing about Abuja, and do you think it has put paid to this fact that if you do not get 25% in Abuja, you can't become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
I'll start with the last one. Yes, it has put paid to that. We all now know that it's not compulsory for you to have 25% in Abuja. What is important for you to have 25% in social number of states of the Federation, including Abuja. Actually, I never knew why Abuja was singled out. The Constitution was specific. Social states of the Federation, including Abuja. Not that Abuja must have special status. No. And actually, I knew this right from the time of Bola and Alhaji Shagari's time, during the 12th to 3rd saga of late Chief Richard Akinjide, that Abuja had no special status. That Abuja should be seen as other parts of the Federation, and that was it. So as a result, when I saw that as part of their grounds, I just laughed because I did that one right from then. That I mind you, and I'm not a lawyer anyway, but I knew what would be the outcome. And not quite long, that renowned lawyer, Wole Olanipo Chief Place, signed, did say that he had once argued the case that he was on the panel that assisted or that stood in for Chief during that time, and that he knew from pronouncement of the Supreme Court that Abuja had no special status. He was even telling them that some people just thought because it belonged to the council of BAT that it was being partisan. So Abuja is not. Those in Abuja are Nigerians. And all Nigerians have equal rights. Our constitution says that all Nigerians have come together to agree. Not that some Nigerians are somewhere in Abuja will now decide. No. So if you are Nigerians, why should you have special laws? Incidentally, I think it has put to pay, and I'm sure all upcoming politicians will not look forward to just having 25% in social number of states, including Abuja.
Let's speak to the graphics rolling on the screen. You know, we've never had, what's it called, the courts overturn the victory of a president in the history of Nigeria, you know, at least since 1999. We can see the one of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, you know, this one coming on the screen, Obafemi Awolowo of UPN, Nnamdi Azikiwe of NNPP versus Shehu Shagari of NPN in 1979. We also have that of Obafemi Awolowo of UPN versus Shehu Shagari of the NPN in 1983. You know, all of these issues, you know, we've got that of the Goodluck Jonathan, we've got that of the Olufalaye against former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who contended, you know, the victory of the former president of Nigeria. The same thing for Jonathan, the same thing for Eredwa, the same thing for President Muhammadu Buhari. Now we saw what we witnessed yesterday as regard that of President Bola Tinubu. Is this a tradition that it's not going to happen, it's never going to occur in the history of Nigeria, that when INEC declares the winner, then it's not possible for the court to overrule, regardless of evidence presented before it? Is that what you think too?
No. If you have good facts on ground, very cogent facts, it can happen. Take, for instance, the June 12 election. If it has been tested in court, I can assure you that Chief MK Abiola would have been pronounced winner, because factual evidences are put there. And let me tell you how you get those evidences. Take, for instance, if there's an allegation about overvoting or whatnot, there are some forms that the agent will sign. Those forms have captured organically everything that happened at that polling unit. If you are able to aggregate, collect them very well, and present them to prove your case that you won that election, definitely you're going to be pronounced winner. So it's not a matter of whether we can or we cannot. It is a question of, are you ready to go through the hog of all the processes? It's a very painstaking thing. That is why political parties must ensure that they understand the fundamentals of that political process. And it starts from your agent at the polling unit. If you intend to challenge anything in court that concerns hierarchy within that system, if you don't have those organic documents, you only go there with presumption. And the court will not decide based on what you have presumed. They will decide on the basis of what you are able to present, as long as those presentations also have a place in our law. That's the fact.
This was let me stay with you. This was televised yesterday for everyone to see. And when I saw some comments, because I was also reading comments while we were watching online on our channel, some people are saying that, no, the judges must have been bribed. There is no way they would have, you know, because all of this evidence, it will be brought in, you know, tons and tons of evidences to prove that there were irregularities. But we saw it. We saw everything that were lucidly, you know, elucidated by the judges, you know, bringing it to our viewing yesterday. Is it possible that there probably could have been some sort of conversations with the judges, because now I'm the president, so you have to rule in my favor? Could that have been possible?
I would say under this circumstance, it is almost not possible, because everybody was following. Even, I can assure you that some people might have the technology to follow the phone calls of those judges. They will follow their movement. They will follow many things.
Even though their faces were not shown, we know them.
Even though their faces were not shown, those interested parties, of course, have been going before them. They know them, right? So I don't think those judges were bribed. They have acted on the basis and conduct of their professional ethics. And if they feel otherwise, let them bring out the proof.
The reading of the judgments was an arduous task, and we imagine the judges sitting for several hours while some observers even fell asleep along the line. What does this say about the tenacity, the grit of giving and witnessing a suit of this nature? Because it was quite long. You started off with the fact that it was came up with a very long hour. Even I also fell asleep. Some other journalists right there which trended on the social media for falling asleep, but then they were not even the focus of the judgment yesterday. It's just side attraction. So what does this say about the tenacity of delivering a judgment of this magnitude?
Before I come to that, I want to say that now all of us are now aware that there is nobody who cannot fall asleep. Before the election, because of the acts because of the diligence one of the contestants had put in by traversing the length and breadth of the country, anytime he had the opportunity of resting, he will a bit fall asleep. And then it was the talk of the time, the man no well, they still sleep. Now all those who slept yesterday, they are not well. I'm sure they are well anyway. That's nobody. There's nobody who will not answer the call of nature.
Right.
And I'm happy that happened. That's aside. Now, the tenacity, you see, one thing that all of us must understand is that Nigerians are very hardworking. That's right. And Nigerians are sound. Just of recent, a Nigerian doctor operated a fetus in the pregnancy and brought out some tumor and returned it. A Nigerian doctor in the US. That shows how sound we are. Any Nigerian that is ready to do it, to cross the Rubicon, will cross the Rubicon and be seen as an example. Excellence will be there. That's what those judges they displayed yesterday. That when you are committed to a cause. And the commitment showed that to the extent that they were there and they made their remarks. And even after the lead judgment, each and every other four judges equally had additions to the judgment. And there I will not come in. It was agreed that there was overvoting. A particular party was favored to win. Those areas where you mentioned, that party that complained actually won. In Lagos State, the party that was favored lost. You that were complaining, you won. Some other states where you claim that you have been suppressed, you won all the votes, the majority of the votes there. So the person at home was very careful. And let me say, it's not the heaps of evidence that is important to. It is the relevance of that evidence. I remember when we were in school, because we want to impress our colleagues, especially ladies.
You collect extra sheets.
Extra paper. You will not use about 10. Whereas the boy who used just 1 or 2 will come first. But you are just collecting extra paper. So it's not that the number of evidence you know. What is the quality of that evidence? The Yoruba say, if I have a son that is good and well trained, I prefer that to having 10 children who will be just useless. That's what has happened. It is not the volume of presentation. It is the quality of what you are presenting. All right,
very quickly, let us look at what next, because we'll still have this conversation, on and on, even, while in the course of this program. Some are already tweeting or trending revolution now. They are calling for a coup, they are calling for protests and all of that. Is that the way to go? Despite, the evidences, what we all witnessed yesterday, do you think that's the way to go for Nigerians? And what does this say about the quality of people that we call ourselves as Nigerians?
Well, for such people, or those people, they should understand there is law in the land. You don't find the ambience of crisis and think you just go scot-free, right? The security agencies should do the needful, go after them, get them arrested, and persecute them. The fact that you have the liberty to use the social media does not mean that you should go out of line. Anybody that have any redress, the judiciary is there. Let them go prove their point. I don't think anybody wants to see a revolution if you know what it entails, right? That is infantile radicalism. For some of us that existed during the military era, we know what we went through on the streets of Lagos and Nigeria. We know how many bullets we were able to be thankful to God not to have been cut down as student activists calling for the enthronement of democracy, right? And all of that. I don't think anybody wants to go through that again. Neither do I think anybody wants to see a military coup in Nigeria where right is suspended, constitution is suspended, you get on the street, you're shot, they're put in detention, and the pain goes all across the country. I don't think we want to see that.
Yeah, so what do you make of that call for for overtaking for obstructing democracy, stopping democracy, regardless of what we've seen in the court of law?
What most people don't understand is that the most beneficent, the most benevolent, the most useful military administration is the least accepted. It's actually not as good as the worst civilian administration. People don't appreciate freedom. See, we are here, you are talking, we are doing what you like. Let's be that the military and see what will happen. So what people must understand is that the worst civilian administration is far, far better than the most benevolent military administration. And I want people to bear this in mind, especially when it is said that it is the beginning that you will not know what will happen at the end. And if you think you are not doing very well now by taking only Gary in the morning, not in the afternoon, and Gary in the evening, when there is problem, you will know that even that Gary, you will not even take it. And when you want to take it, it will be in the bush, somewhere there where you're hiding your head. Nigerians should know that this is the only country that you have. All hands must be on deck to make the country peaceful, to be lawful, and to be orderly, to the extent that you can talk about development. Any complaint, there are courts of law. Some people actually won through the court of law. So those who thought they had won, it had been reversed, and the proper appropriation has been put in place. So what are we saying? You can get justice if you have your facts. But that people are expecting this doesn't mean that justice should be precipitated on expectations of people. Justice is precipitated on facts before the judges and the law. Then their decisions come.
So because we have little time to go, President Tinubu had actually called on Nigerians. He is the victor in all of this, and then he called on others to join hands in moving Nigeria forward. He's currently in India. We saw this celebration mode that went in the air with them yesterday, and he is also bringing in about 14 billion US dollars investment from India, which Nigeria has actually that promise. So what do you think? Because it also happened in the first 100 days of President Bola Tinubu. So what do you make of this? Do we now begin to see, or should we now begin to see, governance at its peak?
I've often said that President Bola Tinubu is a man that has a very good plan, and he worked towards his plan. And part of the plan in the Renewed Hope document is to attract a lot of investment into the country. So you can imagine an investment of over $14 billion in Nigeria. Automatically, it means that the Nigerian naira will gain more strength. And what we are seeing now, as against naira to the dollar, will be of advantage to Nigeria. We become more of a country that exports, and it will create more jobs and all of that. So I would only encourage the president and his team to continue to work without looking back. Their hands is on the plow. God, in his infinite mercy, will help them to deliver all the programs in the Renewed Hope document. And Nigeria be greater again. And for those people who feels that they've not had their way, like President Tinubu will always say, you get back to the drawing board, reassess your system, and come back to the field of play. Tomorrow, they might benefit, or they could benefit from what President Tinubu has benefited from now. So everybody must work in line with the provision of law and the guidelines that surrounds our electoral activities, so that we don't do things from our own self-end. We must understand that there are rules, right? Let's learn to work within those rules, and at the end of the day, we'll come out with victory.
Absolutely. President Tinubu also said that these are my team, that I'm the captain of the team, and I tell you, we solve problems. So we're looking forward to seeing some of these problems that Nigeria is faced with, that the current administration will be resolving at the end of the day. Well, we still have this conversation. We're still discussing the outcome of the President's Petitions Tribunal judgments.